Welcome back, guys. In today's video, we're going to be talking about craft fairs or craft markets, whatever you call them in your area. I'm just going to kind of walk you through what I do to prepare for these, how they kind of go for me, what I found that works for me and what I found that don't, and just kind of give you little tips and tricks that I think that might be helpful for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start out by apologizing if you hear background noises. That's because I am a mom and my daughter is having the time of her life in her bedroom right now playing with her toys. So I am sorry that I'm not sorry. All right, so to begin, obviously you want to pick, the event that you're going to go to. So when I'm doing this, I wouldn't say I'm very picky, but I'm kind of picky on where I like to go because most places do have a fee to get in. So one thing you want to consider is, does my item fit, the vibe of this place? Like, does what I have to sell fit the crowd of the people who are going to be coming there and buying things? So if you don't know that, then you don't know until you try. But if it's something local to your area that you've been to before, you've had people that have gone to it before, or you just kind of know, kind of like the scene of that area. Like I know that locally here to my downtown area, it's more like hip and that kind of thing, rather than when I just went this last weekend to an old vintage antique mall and had my stuff there, kind of thing. So just be aware of stuff like that. I'm not saying that if your stuff doesn't quite match that full vibe that you won't do well, because sometimes if you're the only person there with your type of stuff, you're going to do well because there's no one that has stuff like yours. But if it's not stuff that, the crowd of the people being there that they would typically go for, then you may not do well because it's just really not their style and it's not something that they're looking for. So just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind how much it is to get in. I mean, the prices and fees to get in really range on how big is the show, where's the location, what's the crowd they're expecting. So just keep all of that in mind, and try to be aware and mindful of that whenever you're trying to sign up for something, because obviously you're going to have to make the sales to make up, that fee before you see a profit on anything. So those are just some things to keep in mind whenever you're trying to pick a location. For me, I kind of just do what feels right. If I have one that I'm kind of just like standoffish about, or I'm not like, I don't know, then I'll, take some time to think about it based on the price, how big their crowd's going to be. You can always find this information by asking whoever's in charge of that, and they're usually more than happy to share that information with you because they want you to be there. So they're gonna share that information with you and try to make your choices a little easier. So after you've done that, obviously you want to focus on what items are you bringing. Now, obviously the things that I'm sharing with you are going to be based on my personal experience. And if you're, around my channel, I do a lot of home decor type things. I do a lot of thrift flips and art pieces and that kind of stuff. So if you say do hair bows, or you do sew clothing, or you're a boutique, or you're, you paint pictures or stuff like that, things are going to be a little bit different for you than they are for me. But I'm going to share the stuff that works well for me that can also be adapted into whatever you are planning to sell. So for my items, when I'm prepping, I don't typically make certain things for certain shows. I'm going to preface that, for the most part. So I tend to just do whatever I feel like doing. So if I find good items to flip, then I will go thrifting and I will flip those items. If I feel like doing an acrylic pour, then I will do that. I kind of do whatever unless it's around the holidays. Now, so Easter's coming up. I don't typically change what I do based on the holidays, unless it's like Thanksgiving, the fall, or Christmas, because people are way more willing to buy to decorate for those seasons than they are typically for the other seasons throughout the year. That being said, I do still like to have some little smalls around that do go with kind of the holiday going on. That way, it kind of makes my booth a little bit more festive, and if someone does come looking for that stuff, I have something for them to look at. But I don't like to overindulge in that kind of stuff, because if I don't sell it, then it's just going to sit there until the following year. So, but that's to each their own. That's my personal preference. So just make sure, you kind of get an idea, okay, what do I want to sell? What items do I need to have multiples of? Which, how much inventory do I want to have? How big is this market going to be? Do I need to have extra stored, under my tables, so that if I sell them, I can pull them out? You just kind of want to think through that kind of stuff. That way you can start prepping your inventory and making all of the product that you're going to need for the event that would be coming up. Again, and then if it's like seasonal, or if you like to do the holidays, or target it more towards the crowd. I do that because, like I said, here locally, downtown, it's more of like a hip vibe that goes on. And I found that like my resin pieces with the alcohol inks and like the funky tie-dye blowouts and that kind of stuff does really well there, rather than say in the vintage mall that I was just in. And then like my thrift items and home decor and things do better at like that type of market. So you can kind of, if you're like me and you kind of have like an array of things that you do, and it's not one set like product type that you do, you can target your audience a little easier. But like I said, it's mostly seasons based. What do I want to have holiday themed things, like that kind of stuff? Just kind of think through it. That way you can create the items that you want to have and have them with you the day of the craft show or the market. That way you don't feel like you left anything out. Let's see. I do have a list here. I usually don't talk off script, but I wanted to make sure I just get through everything for you guys. I tried to do it in somewhat of an organized manner, but I babble, so I'm going to try to keep it together here. Okay, so the next thing you want to focus on is your pricing. Again, this is going to be different for everyone based on the products you do. So I'm not necessarily making, so whatever you price your items, that's what you price them, and that's fine. But try to have a range of items. So some people aren't going to be able to come in and just drop $100 on an item. Some people are looking to pick up that $5 item because when they're out at these shows and stuff, they just want to buy something. They just want to feel like they went there and found something cool and just want to pick something up. Other people are there to shop. So what I like to do is, I have a range of items, but I always try to make sure I have some like $5 to $8 things, shelf sitters or that kind of thing, because I do home decor. That's kind of where I bring in the holiday theme. Like I just did some wooden, cute little bunnies, or like carrots, or like eggs, springy time, like eggs and stuff, and just have them at that cheaper price. And then also some of my normal inventory that I do, some smalls that are at that lower level price. That way everyone can shop at my booth. So I have stuff that literally ranges from $5 up to, I have stuff, like $85. I usually don't go too high over that, but anywhere in between there, anyone can come shop at my booth. Anyone is welcome at my booth, and I don't have to worry about making someone feel like they can't come to me and find something that they would be happy with. So that would just be my suggestion, if possible. If you're more of a high-end thing and you don't, that's fine. But if you're just looking to get people of all walks of life, with all budgets to get into your booth, then I would suggest that. Also, if you have those lower end things, if they come in and find something they like and they pick that up and like, oh, they might just be like, oh, well, that's all right, I'll take that too. And then all of a sudden they have several items that they're buying from you. So that's just my suggestion, is think about your price range. Who are the type of people that you want to target? And if you want to have something available for everything, make sure you have some on the lower end too. Even like I said, up to the high range, just so that anyone shopping can try to find something at your space. Now, as far as the pricing, what I do when I finish my items, so I've prepped all my items, I've gotten them ready. As I go, I price them. One, because to me, then the cost of the goods and the materials are fresh in my brain. I already know how much I put into this item. I know how much time I put into this item. So then it's easier for me to go ahead and get a price together, slap it on that item, and not have to try to recall any of that information after I've made 20 other things. So I like to price them as I go. I use the back of my business cards. This is not for everybody. Some people don't like it because, some people just throw those away when they're done. But I like to make sure no one walks away without my information. So I just take business cards that I got off of Vistaprint. I designed them myself. I created them here. You can see it. I might put it up on the screen, but I just designed this myself. I put my information on here. I actually have a QR code that I prepped, so if they scan this, it will take them to all of the links of my social media. So this is kind of a one stop shop for all of my marketing information. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. You can have other things around, but then I just write the prices on the back. Now, if it's say I do wreaths and stuff too. If it's a wreath, you know, it's pretty obvious it's going to go on your door, but if I do like a door hanger or a small wood round, if it's not something that's going to hold up to the weather, I write it on here. I say indoor or covered porch, like / covered porch. Then there are no questions. Some people don't like to put prices on their stuff. That way people are forced to talk to them. I'm going to tell you right now, if I go into a booth and I don't see prices, I'm going to turn around and walk right back out. It's inconvenient. I don't think it's a good way to do business. I try to make sure all of my cards are facing out. So like, say this is my item and I tie a little piece of twine around, I have it. I keep it like this. So people don't have to talk to me to find out how much this is, but they still have to walk into my booth and flip this over. So that's what I do to try to draw people in, make sure they don't walk away with any of the information, because when I was doing just plain price tags and then trying to remember to slip these into people's bags as they go, I'm forgetful. I'm talking to 3 other people. This makes me know that they're going to walk away with my information. If they like it, want a replica, if they love it and want a custom order, if they just want to follow me and get my information, it is all right here for them and they don't have to go searching or try to recall, oh, what booth did I get this from? They've got it. So that's my personal preference. And again, I just, as I finish up an item, put the pricing on the back, go ahead and attach this. I just put a hole punch in the top. It's just an actual business card, and I punch the top, and then I just use like twine like this. This one's really messy. It was wrapped around something really big, but I just tie it up around whatever item it is, and then they have my information. So I'll get into more of what I do for people who visit my booth but don't buy items, but right now we're just talking about the pricing. So then also whenever you're doing your items, you kind of want to be thinking about your setup, like in the booth. What items, are they going to all look good together? Kind of how you're going to set them out. Sometimes they just don't, and that's something you figure out as you go, but just try to be a little bit conscious of that, of how you're going to display those items, which then will take us into the actual booth setup and items. So I know that this can get pricey, and I think that is the actual setup, having tables and all of that is, I feel like, can be really intimidating. So I have 2 folding tables, typically 3 if you want like a U-shaped situation going on. Most spaces that you're gonna get are 8x8 or 10x10. That's the standard, unless you're at some place with kind of a funky setup where they'll do like different shaped booths. Excuse me. So the ones that I typically do are the 10x10. So I have 2 8-foot folding tables that I use. I have really nice tablecloths. Be mindful of your tablecloths. I know it's so easy and seems so fun to have like fun tablecloths with pretty designs on them, or like bright colors that match the season or the festivities or whatever it's going on, the holidays going on. I would suggest you stay away from that. You don't want something that's going to clash with your items. And if you have a bright green shamrock, tablecloth going down, and then you're putting all your items on top of it, they're just going to kind of get lost. It can clash really bad and it just won't look good. What I want you to think about when thinking about your booth setup is that as somebody is walking by and they, kind of glancing into your booth, what are they seeing? Because that is a direct reflection of you. It's a direct reflection of your items. It's direct reflection of your quality of work, and that's what they're going to think. So if you just have a table sitting up there, old stained table, no tablecloth, everything just laying flat on the table, they're going to look at that and not be very impressed by your setup, therefore not be very impressed by your work without even ever looking at your work. You could do spectacular work, but they're probably not going to give you a good chance because they're not going to walk up to that because it's not pleasing to them. It's not pulling them in. So I have tables. I have nice black tablecloths. You can get white. You can do neutral colors. Solid colors is what I would suggest. That way your items on top aren't getting lost into any kind of design or clashing with it. And then you want to think about height. So say if you have earrings, obviously you're not going to just lay those flat on the table. You're going to get some kind of little display board and hang them up so people can see, oh, they're selling earrings. And whenever you have stuff that's kind of heighted off on the table, it's more pleasing to the eye. It's going to kind of draw people in. Oh, that's elevated. Their eyes are going to go to that. So just keep that in mind whenever you're doing that. I know that it can be expensive. I have 2 folding shelves. So the shelves fold up, the sides close in, and they lay completely flat. I have searched for these Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores. Anything like that is where I have found mine because I know that they're expensive. But if you keep your eye out, you can get them for a decent price. You're probably going to have to clean them up. You're probably going to have to paint them and do a little bit of work, but it will be worth it to save the money that you would have to do to pay to get a really nice display going on. So I have 2 wooden large folding shelves, and then I have 2 metal racks that I found at my local thrift store. They have a little bit of rust on them. They just needed to be cleaned up really good, and I spray painted those black. I sealed those in with some clear spray paint, and they look amazing. I actually had someone trying to buy them off of me at my last show, and I was like, listen, anything's for sale, but not these. Like, I have worked so hard to find things that will fold flat and not take away from the room that I need to get all of my stuff to and from the shows. So I just can't part with them. But like I said, watch your thrift stores, watch your Facebook marketplaces. You can find the things that you need for your booth for a decent price. So I do a lot of outdoor craft shows. For that, I like to have a tent. One, because I sell wreaths and hanging things. That way I can hang stuff along the tent. But also, it gets really hot and the sun's beating down. It gets, sprinkling rain. You don't want rain all over your stuff. I found a brand new pop-up 10 by 10 sturdy tent, brand new in the box, for $40 cheaper than I could get it anywhere else because I found somebody, I think he does the buy in bulk, I don't know what they're called, skids or whatever, and then he just sells that stuff off. Well, I got it for a lot cheaper because he's just trying to move these items. So keep an eye out for that. So when I have outdoor markets, I like to have a big tent. Like I said, it makes it easier. I've also made my own wreath stand. So I had this wooden lattice that I got last year that I planned on doing a stand with, but I never got back around to it. Excuse me. So I painted it black, and I've been hanging it from the back of the tent with some bungee cords, and that allows me to hang and display some more wreaths. But I wanted it to be to where it could also stand up if I'm doing an indoor craft thing and don't have my tent with me. So what I had been doing before was hanging it across the table, but I wanted to upgrade my tablecloth, so I would no longer be able to do that. So I bought a second one of these just at my local hardware store. I'm doing the wooden lattice because it's a little sturdier. Yes, it's heavy, but I wanted it to be heavy so it won't just blow over. So I did 2 of those, painted them black, and then I put door hinges on them. That way it can fold flat and be easy to transfer. But now it can be self-standing because it'll stand at a 90-degree angle, and it's pretty sturdy when I hang my stuff on it. Or when I have my tent, if I don't want it standing, I can still hang it from the tent, and I can either hang it while it's folded to where it's just that 2x6 size, or I can unfold it and have a complete lattice wall to hang all of my stuff from. So that's what I've done personally. There's other ways, I've thought about doing wooden frames with chicken wire. That would work fine. I have these metal S-hooks that I got from Amazon. These are so much better than what you're going to find at your local stores because they're always those super small ones and you can't get anything to hang from them. So this is what I hang all of my stuff with. They're super convenient, super awesome, and they're the perfect size to get in and hang things where I need them to. They're sturdy and I don't have any problems with them, but I can link those in the description. They are awesome if you have any type of hanging stuff. So yeah, this is what I use with the lattice. I also hang these around the tent if I need a little more room to hang stuff. So do that. So, but like I said, you don't have to have all these shelves and stuff. You can take, if you're starting out and you need a cheap way to get stuff heights, like you can get risers. You can take a cardboard box and, as simple as just wrapping it with some plain white paper or some crepe paper or something like that. Wrap it up, make it look nice, then you can set stuff on top of it and give you some height. So there are so many ways to elevate your pieces without having to put out a bunch of money. Get some wooden crates, stack them up, put your items in there, just anything like that. If you don't, if wood isn't really matching your items, paint the crate. Paint it whatever color you want. It's just simple ways to, like I said, add height and draw in the eye to just be pleasing to the eye, to where they're going to want to come in and see what you have going on, and also be able to see your items without searching just on a flat table. So remember, it's a reflection of you. So make your booth what you want people to feel. Okay. Did I do enough with that? So yeah, let's move on to actually setting up. So what I do after I price my items, or I try to do, I'm at my house, I made it, I priced it, I've added the price tag. I have tubs that I carry my stuff to and from any of the craft fairs that I do, and I try to just go ahead and put things away. Put them in there, that way whenever it's time for me to pack for the show, I can just pick the tub up and go. Now I do keep some items out because I use them in staging for my pictures, and I do sell on Marketplace sometimes, so if somebody buys something, I want to be able to get it easily. So they're still all there and I can get to them, but they're all already packed away. That way I'm not like freaking out, running around everywhere the night before the show, trying to figure out where everything is. It's already priced, it's already packed up. I don't have to stress about that. So whenever I am doing a new show, like the show I just did last weekend was somewhere I'd never been before. I practiced my setup, so I was like, okay, what do I want my booth to look like when you get there? And it's cool for you to have a vision and then completely change it. That's fine. But you want to kind of get an idea. Can I set this up by myself? I knew I was going to be there by myself this time. I wanted to make sure I can get my tables up by myself. I can get all the shelvings up. I can carry everything by myself. Usually the people around you are really nice and willing to help you. But if there isn't someone, you want to make sure you can do your setup yourself. So kind of pre-think through that. Make sure you have everything that you need, or that you have somebody who's going to come be there for you and help you and do the things you need, because you don't want to get there and then just kind of be stuck. So make lists of, okay, what do I need to set up? What do I need to physically be able to put my items out for people to see? Make a list of that. What items do I want to take? If you don't know, like I'm pretty good at this point knowing, oh, this, whatever, then make a list of that. The stuff that you need the day of, make a list of that. We'll kind of go over my kind of checklist of what I do, but just lists are very helpful. That way you can physically check things off and you're not, your brain's going to be going a mile a minute and you're not just going to forget something. So the next thing, whenever you're doing it, I like to pack my car the night before. I don't do well in the mornings. Like I want to sleep till last minute. Like I want to sleep as long as I can because I like my sleep. So I don't want to get up in the morning and be rushing around. I don't want to oversleep thinking I have plenty of time and then not getting my car packed in time. I don't want to rush myself to where I'm running around frantic and forgetting things. I just want to avoid all of that. So I always pack my car the night before if possible. So, or if not, at least get everything gathered into one area where everything here, this goes. So that's my suggestion. Pack the night before, pack the day before. Do not do it whenever you have to get up crazy early in the morning and rush around. The second reason why you want to do that is because you want to get there early. So some places do allow you to set up the day before, if that's ever possible, and not in an outside place. Like I have some places that are like outside and they say there's security and patrol. I might go set up my tables in my tent and kind of just keep it like half up, but I'm not putting my items out there. I'm sorry, I just don't trust people. I'm not doing that, but again, that's a me thing. But anytime I can set up before, I try to at least set up my tables and get that stuff out of the way. That way when I get there, I can just start unloading and making things pretty. So if you can, get there early. Most of the other vendors or booth people around you, they're going to be shopping. So before it opens, they're going to start meandering. They're going to see what everybody else has going on. They're going to do their shopping for the day at that point, or they're at least eyeballing, oh, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to get this, or I'm going to get this. So you want to go ahead and have your stuff set up so that when those people start coming through before the show, you can go ahead and start making sales. So it's not going to happen every time. Sometimes things happen in your last minute, but if at all possible, get your stuff set up early. Befriend your booth neighbors. I have made so many awesome friends from going to craft shows and literally befriending the people around me. One, because I like to talk. Can you tell? Two, if I need to run to the restroom, if I need to run and grab a snack, if I need whatever, I need to run my car because I forgot something. Well, I've befriended this person and I know that they're going to have my back and watch over my booth for me if somebody's around. Hey, she'll be right back. She literally just went for a second. She's on her way back now. Hey, what do you need? How can I help you? Whatever. So they're kind of got your back and keep an eye on things while you have to run away real quick. So befriend them. Okay, we'll kind of go over like the day of, like what's kind of the process of the day of. So you've loaded your car the night before, and if not, the morning of, you have everything piled up, you load your car. You have your checklist, you're going over everything. The other thing you want to make sure you have the day of is kind of all of your extras. So for me, I use a lot of floral wire, hot glue. Some places don't have electricity, so I take super glue. I take pliers, I take wire snips, I take extra business cards, extra string, scissors, markers, pens, paper. I like to keep note cards, and I write the show and the date that I did it. And then I write, as I sell my items, I write what the item was or something that will tell me what the item was and the price that they paid, not the price. Like sometimes if somebody comes to my booth and they buy 4 or 5 things, I might knock a few dollars off just as a thank you, whatever. I write the price that they paid for each item on this card, and then I write if it's most of my transactions are cash, but if they paid me Venmo or they paid me PayPal or something, I write that beside it. That way when I go at the end of the day to kind of make sure everything adds up from my petty cash to the cash I got, whatever, I have a running tally of everything, but then I also have that note card to look back on to say, oh, at this show, this is what I did. So I like to have note cards to where I can do that. I like to have note cards where if I need to jot anything down real quick, so kind of just think through that. Like, what are the things, like if something happens with one of your items, what will I need to do a quick fix if that's possible? So just do that kind of things. Make sure you have water. Make sure you have some type of snack on hand, because sometimes you just can't get away from your booth if it's a really busy day. So you want to make sure that you're drinking throughout the day and not getting dehydrated, and you want to make sure you have a snack on hand in case you can't get away to get a meal. Wear comfortable shoes. I know you want to look cute and not look like a trash bag human. I understand that, but wear comfortable shoes. It's a long day. Even if you have a chair that you took with you, a lot of times if it's a busy day, you're on your feet talking to people. Or at least me personally, I'm on my feet talking to people. So make sure you're wearing something comfortable. Like I said, make sure you look presentable, but make sure your feet are taken care of. And then petty cash. Make sure you have cash to start out with. Again, this will be based off of what your items are, your pricings and things. So for me, I typically like to have around $100 of petty cash for no matter what the show is. Mostly 1s, mostly 5s, a few 10s. For me, I do this because I do have pricing like $8, $12, $18. Like it's kind of all over the place. One, I do that because I do my items based on how much it cost me to make them. And then also, if it's something where I feel like $20 is just too much, but 15 is not enough, then I'll put it at 18. And then people look at that and they're like, oh, well, it's not 20. And so they're like, oh, that's a deal. That's fine. And so I need to have ones to do that. If you don't have odd numbers like that, you can do just fives and tens and whatever, but just do it based off of what your pricing is going to be. And I have done smaller shows with the 100, and I have done bigger shows with the 100, and it has always seemed to be enough. I have not had an issue where I've ran out of petty cat, like the, the ones, the fives, or the change that I need to be able to provide people. So just keep that in mind. Just make sure you keep that safe. You're going to need some type of till, some type of box to keep your money in. You could use a fanny pack or an apron if you want to keep it on you. I use this little box that you can't tell. So I have this box right here, and it's just like a little magnetic. It's decorative, and it kind of goes in with the items that I have, but I make sure it's tucked away so that no one will think it's for sale and touch it or anything. So it's always where they can't really see it, but I can get to it easy. But it doesn't look like it would be something that is holding cash, so I don't have to really worry about somebody snatching it or trying to rob me or anything. It's a mess right now because I literally just threw things in after my craft fair. I like to always have sanitizer on hand because even before COVID, like, germs existed. Cash is disgusting. So I like to have that. You can see I have all my hooks here. I have some florals that I just threw in here. I have a bunch of business cards. Like I said, this is usually a little more organized. A snack bar. Glue. What else do we have? Scissors, markers. I like to have my, if you have optional or like different ways for payments, a lot of people don't like to pay with cash anymore. I don't personally have a Square to swipe credit cards or anything, but I have Venmo and I have PayPal. So what I do is I get the QR codes that they can just scan with their phone, and it'll instantly bring up my profile so that it's really easy for them to pay me on either of those apps that they want to use. And that has saved me some sales because I've had several people say, oh, I don't have enough cash, like I've spent it all or whatever. Well, I have these options. Do you have either of these? And that seems to work. So having an alternate route for them to be able to pay you is important, and especially having it accessible. I don't have an easy name to spell, so telling them, oh, my Venmo is my name, okay, that's complicated. So I just have it all here for them to be able to access that. So I think that's kind of everything for the extras that I take. Well, bags for your items. Make sure you have something if they get multiple items, or like if it can fit in a bag. Like I just take grocery bags left over from when I go grocery shopping, or for smaller items, I have just paper sacks. People really like that. Sometimes if people come in my booth and they've been elsewhere and they're just browsing my stuff and they haven't even really bought anything, I'll just be like, hey, do you need a bag to help you out with that? And they're like, oh, thank you. And then all of a sudden we're chatting. Well, the more we're chatting, the more they're looking at my stuff. The more they're looking at my stuff, they're picking it up. And they're like, oh, and they're talking about where it could go. And that can lead to a sale too. So that's going to lead me to another big point. Make sure you're interacting with your customers. Don't creepily stare at them while they're in your booth. I'm like, oh, what are you touching? Don't be pushy. Don't be a pushy salesperson. I know that you think that's a good idea. It's not. We hate it. Me, and all of the other people collectively, we don't like it. If you are pushy on me, you're not getting a sale out of me, because I want to be able to make that decision on my own, and I want you to respect my decision to think about it, or, oh, well, I'm not really sure. Just respect the people that come into your booth. Now, that doesn't mean you can't chat them up. I told you I am chatting all day. So, hey, how are you guys doing today? Oh, talk about the weather. If you're, not comfortable with small chat, talk about the weather. Oh, what have you guys found today? I love your shoes. That's a super cute shirt. Oh, girl, I love your hair. Like, anything. People love compliments, and you don't have to do it if you don't mean it. Like, I genuinely do like to compliment people. It makes their day better, and I mean it, and that makes me happy. And we can chat. If they have something that they're interested in and they don't really want to buy it, that's fine with me. You can not buy it. That's fine. But I like to send people home with my card. Oh, well, you were interested in some of my items. You seem to like my style. Here's my card. I take custom orders. I have a Facebook page that you can follow me on. Here's my YouTube link. If you like my items, I can teach you how I did it. Stuff like that. So I am always marketing myself. like I said, just pulling people in with that chatter, talking to them about their day, seeing how they're doing without being pushy, keeps them in your booth longer. And again, they're picking stuff up, they're looking at this, they're whatever. If they're saying, oh, I don't know if this will look good in this area. Oh, well, what does that area look like? Just kind of get information out of them. Oh, well, I don't know that that will work, but I have this and it sounds like it'd be perfect. And then, you can kind of redirect them. So you don't have to be pushy to make a sale, but you do have to interact and try to be friendly with people. If you're an introvert and you don't super want to talk to people, it's okay. Just say hi to them. It's like, hi, how you doing today? Let me know if you need anything. It can be so simple. You don't have to make a big thing out of it, but just make sure you're interacting. I can't tell you, I feel really bad. I had this lady next to me at a booth, and she didn't sell much, but she was tucked back in her chair the whole day. She didn't really interact with many people, and I'm not saying that's the reason she didn't make a lot of sales. I just think it would have pulled more people into her booth to possibly make a sale. So that's one of my biggest suggestions. Put on a smile, pretend you're happy to be there, and welcome people into your booth. Don't be pushy. Don't try to force them into anything, but just be there for them if they need anything. Market it yourself, market your items, but don't be pushy and don't try to force it on anybody. As you go through the day, write down the items you're selling, write down how much it was for. Like I said, this is good for at the end of the day when you can kind of go through to see how much you made, what items were selling, what were people interested in. Throughout the day, I like to just kind of watch people. Like I said, not creepily stare at them. I kind of move around, make sure I'm not in their way. But I watch them and I see what people are touching. Okay, what are they picking up? What's drawing them to? Okay, well, this item's been out here kind of on this shelf right in front of their faces and no one's looking at it. Why aren't they looking at it? And I'm just kind of keeping all this information in my head. And then throughout the day, I move my items around. Not like crazy, but I'll take, okay, well, no one's looked at this and it's been sitting right in the forefront this whole time. Take that, move it, put something else there. I've done that so many times and made sales that now this is in their face and they liked that, so they picked it up, they bought it, I just replaced it. So kind of move, if something's not selling, if you're not making sales, if something's not getting attention that you thought really would be something that people would pay attention to, place it somewhere else. The things that are going to be on the ends or higher up, not like super high, but like in sight line, are going to be the things that people see first and more likely drawn to. So if something on the end isn't really moving, or there's an item that you're like, well, I really thought this would go, move it around. I probably moved my booth around 5 different times, which, like I said, it wasn't like a full overhaul. It was just, okay, let's switch these items. Okay, let's switch these ones. Watch what people are touching, watch what they're interested in, and it just kind of, one, will give you an idea for the future, what items are good, and then also, okay, this I put on the end, and then all of a sudden people were all about it. So just kind of be mindful of what your items are doing, what people are looking at, what are they interested in. Are they looking at your stuff, saying they love it, turning over the price tag, and then walking away? Is your item priced too high? Just keep all of that in mind, because that's what's going to help you moving forward with any of the shows that you want to do. Again, the location might matter with how much people are willing to pay. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I just want to teach you what to look for. Like I said, are they loving it and then seeing the price tag and being like, oh, or are they making good comments about, I have a lot of people say, oh, your prices are very fair. Oh, you have very good pricing, that kind of stuff. Okay, well, are my prices too cheap? You know what I mean? So you just want to make sure that you're getting, I like to give my people a good deal. I want them to feel like they're getting what they paid for. I want them to feel like they're, basically I'm not emptying their wallet for them to come shop with me, but I also need to pay. You know what I mean? I have bills to pay too. So just kind of be mindful of all of that. Like I said, make sure you're drinking your water throughout the day. Chat up people, make friends with your neighbors. Some of my sales come from my booth neighbors, and just befriending them. I have people that I still talk to, a year later, that I'm friends with now, who I met through this type of stuff. So that's kind of the things that you want to look for throughout the day. If you like that market or that show, usually the venue or whoever put it on will be handing out flyers and things to go ahead and sign up for the next time. So you can always ask for that information or where you can find it, if it was a good place for you. So that's kind of like the throughout the day of what you're going to be doing. Then it comes cleanup. And so what I like to do when I break down is I typically don't break down until about 5 minutes after it's supposed to be closed. What I find happens is everybody is in a hurry to break down, and you have stragglers walking through, and they want to look at stuff and they don't want to miss out. So I'll just leave my stuff up while everyone's breaking down, and then all of a sudden people are in my booth. And I have made last minute sales because of that. It doesn't work every time, because some people are like, oh, everybody's breaking down, I'm just gonna leave. But if I'm not in any hurry, I just kind of leave it up, let people do it, and then I try my best to put things back where they need to go securely, safely, to get them all back into my car. But as you can see, like my little box here, it's the catch-all, just kind of throwing away everything in there. But then when you get home, kind of just like debrief it. Like I know at that exact moment you're not going to want to, but just make sure all of your items are kind of in order, nothing's broken, nothing's out of place. If you had your tent out on a rainy day, that you're popping it back up and making sure it's having time to dry and not moldy. Just kind of just clean house and make sure everything is good to go. That way for the next one, you're not stressing yourself out because you didn't reset at the end of it. Then you can, count through your cash, make sure everything lines up, see how much you made. Write that on your card that you're going to be looking back on, so that, like the one that I just did, I really enjoyed it. I was successful at it and I would love to do it again. I don't want to forget in a year's time after I do 7 other shows how that one went for me. So I'll just be able to pull that card out and say, oh yeah, that was a good show. I remember now, whatever. And I think that's pretty much all of the tips and tricks that I have for you. Again, for your actual setup, I know it can get pricey, but if you're going to put your money into anything, make it be that, because you want that to reflect your items. You want it to reflect your work. You want it to reflect you, and you want people to look at it and just as they're walking by, be drawn in by how you have it set up. So I think that's everything. If you have any specific questions that you have or any tips or anything that I can help you with, I am more than happy to answer those questions for you. So please leave a comment below of any questions you may have. Leave a comment below if you think I did pretty good on covering it, or if there's an area that you need a little more clarification. But I just really wanted to share this with you because I know, especially if you're just starting out, it is very overwhelming. It can be very intimidating, and I just kind of want to take that stress off of you, and just share the knowledge that I have from doing, the amount of shows that I have done. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Would love to have you on our crafting journey. We do a little bit of everything. If you are returning, thank you so much. I love you guys. Give me a thumbs up if I did a good job explaining this in this video. Give me a thumbs up if you thought I talked too much. And I am gonna just kind of scroll through and let you guys see my last setup from my setup this past weekend. And I will see you next time.